In my view, this issue of oligarchy is the most important issue facing our country and the world. Oligarchy is a global phenomenon, and it is headquartered right here in the United States. The fact of the matter is, and we don't talk about it very much, but this is the reality, a small number of incredibly wealthy billionaires own and control much of the global economy, period. End of discussion. And increasingly, they own and control our government through a corrupt campaign finance system. Since 2020, 5 billion people all over the world have become poorer, while the world's 5 richest billionaires have more than doubled their fortunes at a rate of $14 million per hour. And listen to this. Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest man, has added $120 billion to his fortune just since election day. Got that? 120 billion since election day. While Jeff Bezos, number 2 guy, he only became $67 billion richer in the last month. Outrageously, the wealthiest people in the world are stashing up to $32 trillion in offshore tax havens like the Cayman Islands in order to avoid paying their fair share of taxes to governments all over the world. In other words, governments are underfunded, and these people stash trillions in tax havens. Meanwhile, the uber-rich do spend money to protect their incredible wealth. They do it by buying influence, and increasingly by buying our elections. Just 150 billionaire families spent nearly $2 billion to buy our recent elections. Elon Musk alone spent at least $277 million to back Donald Trump. How's that? One guy, $277 million. And we saw the results of that investment working pretty good for him. The major defense contractors spent over $38 million this election cycle. And you know what? They're going to have $1 trillion military budget with enormous amounts of waste and fraud in it. This is not democracy. This is not one person, one vote. This is not all of us coming together to decide our future. This is oligarchy.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. So when the media talks about oligarchy, it's always about Russian billionaires. But this 2024 election campaign in the United States, we saw something come to light. A number of billionaires were calling the shots, one of them being so vocal than the rest, Elon Musk. For reference in this video, BernieSanders talks about the danger of oligarchy in the states against democracy. Subscribe to the channel. Let's jump into the video. I'll be back with more commentary later.
Let me take this opportunity to wish everybody a very happy holiday season and a wonderful new year. As we come to the end of 2024, it might be helpful to take a hard look at where we are as a nation and how we can best go forward. And let me be honest with you in saying that we are in an extraordinarily pivotal and volatile moment in American history, and things are moving very, very rapidly. The most important point that I want to stress today is how fast our country is evolving into an oligarchic society and into 2 very different Americas. On one hand, we have an America that consists of less than 1,000 billionaires, not a whole lot of people in a nation of 340 million, who have an unprecedented amount of wealth and power and have never, ever had it so good. That's one America. The other America, where the vast majority of our people live, consists of tens of millions of families who are struggling to put food on the table, pay their bills, and worry that their kids will have a lower standard of living than they do. In the first America, the uber wealthy buy $500 million yachts $270 million mansions. They have private islands all to themselves. They got fleets of jets to take them all over the world. And occasionally they take cool trips on rocket ships that blast off to the edge of outer space. A lot of fun. They also receive the best health care money can buy, and they send their kids to the very best private schools and colleges in the world. In this America, the three wealthiest men, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, own more wealth than the bottom half of our society. Three people own more wealth than the bottom half of our society. And their wealth is skyrocketing. Musk alone is now worth over $450 billion. And combined, these three men are now worth almost $1 trillion. In the other America, millions of Americans are struggling just to provide for the basic necessities of life. In this America, over 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck. Millions work for starvation wages. 85 million are uninsured or underinsured. And over 60,000 die each year because they can't afford to go to a doctor on time. In other words, we are living in a nation today where a handful of billionaires have more money than they could spend in 1,000 lifetimes, while at the same time, millions are living in desperation, fear, and are struggling to survive. But let's be clear. Our country is not just experiencing an unprecedented level of income and wealth inequality. Today, the ruling elite have brought about a situation in which we now have more concentration of ownership than we have ever had before. In other words, a small number of giant corporations have enormous control over our economy in sector after sector: healthcare, agriculture, financial services, energy, transportation, you name it. A small number of giant conglomerates control what is produced and how much we as consumers pay for their products. Unbelievably, just three Wall Street firms, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, control assets of more than $22 trillion. These three Wall Street firms are the major shareholders in 95% of S&P 500 companies, exerting enormous control of the largest corporations in the world. Three Wall Street firms, unbelievable power. And that is not all in terms of what's going on today. It's not just the billionaire ownership and control over the economy and the media that should concern us. The uber rich are also buying our government. They are buying our government and undermining American democracy. Never before in our history have we seen a ruling class with so much political power. As a result of the disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision, billionaires and their super PACs can spend unlimited sums of money on political campaigns. And that is exactly what they are doing. You get one vote. They get to spend unlimited amounts of money. During the 2024 election cycle, just 150 billionaires, 150 people, spent nearly $2 billion to buy politicians who support their agenda and to defeat candidates who oppose their special interests. Billionaires who represent just 0.0005% of our population accounted for 18% of total campaign spending. My friends, that is not democracy. That is not one person, one vote. That is not what this country is supposed to stand for. In his Gettysburg Address in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln spoke about, quote, a government of the people, by the people, for the people, end quote. Well, sadly today, we have a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, for the billionaire class. We are in a pivotal and unprecedented moment in American history. That's the simple reality. Either we fight aggressively all over this country to create a government and an economy that works for all of us, or we will continue to move rapidly down the path of oligarchy and the rule of the super rich. The choice is clear. We must stand together for democracy and justice. Let's do it. Thank you all very much.
Wow. Those are big words and big statements from BernieSanders. Let's ask ourselves one question. Does the middle class actually still exist in America? Because as we have heard, we have two classes of people. We have this one class of people that is up there, and we have another one that is struggling at the bottom. And this one class of, people actually owns everything, 98% of America, while the other actually that is struggling at the bottom, they own nothing. And the most intriguing thing to think about is that the ones who own 98% of America, it's only the 1%, the billionaires, the uber rich, who are buying everything. They have been buying everything from healthcare to tech, every industries and corporation, capitalism, and making money, making profits, never caring about the workers, safety of workers, or the common citizens. And we see a sad story that BernieSanders actually is stating here, that we have something that is beginning to develop in America that we see in places like Russia, because when the media starts to talk about Russia, most of the time you'll hear the word oligarchy, where a lot of billionaires are used by the government in Russia to actually control a lot of things and do shady things for the government. Actually, they are the ones that call the shots. For those of us who do not understand what the word oligarchy actually means, what is oligarchy? Oligarchy at its core, oligarchy is a system of government or power structure where a small group of individuals, usually the wealthy elite, hold the majority of political and economic control. It's the opposite of democracy, where the power is supposed to come from the people. Now, let's think about that for a second. In a country that prides itself in being democratic, how democratic is that? Or what part of democracy is there when we have elite people who are buying up elections in order, to get their interests run actually and pushed forward? There is no way we can be democratic when a handful of billionaires control the economy and influence our government. That's what we are talking about today in this video, in this episode. Now, let's look at the power of billionaires over the economy. A small number of billionaires control more wealth today than at any point in modern history. According to reports, the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 90% of Americans combined. Well, I guess the remaining 9% is the middle class. These billionaires control major industries, tech, healthcare, finance, and energy. Their decisions don't just affect markets, they directly affect the lives of everyday people. Well, they call the shots and we follow. That's basically it. Think about it, because Jeff Bezos decides how American workers in Amazon are treated. Elon Musk influences the future of transportation. You know that the world is trying to go green, to go electric cars, and Elon Musk and Tesla is the biggest producer of electric cars in the world. And Wall Street billionaires play with your retirement savings like it's monopoly money. When this much economic power is concentrated in the hands of the few, it creates a system where working people are left with little to no say about their own economic future. Now, as we have seen in the videos, guys, how are these billionaires influencing the government? Well, it doesn't stop at the economic structure only. It's running deep into the government. Let's talk about the corrupt campaign finance system. This is where oligarchy truly rears its head. Billionaires and corporations use massive donations to essentially buy political influences, super PACs, dark money, and unlimited campaign contributions have turned elections into a pay-to-play system, where those with the deepest pockets call the shots. Think about it, guys. When was the last time Congress passed a law that truly prioritizes working people? Whether it's tax cuts for the rich, corporate subsidies, or lack of action on climate change, the system is rigged to benefit those who fund political campaigns, not those who cast votes. So our point in this video, why is this not democracy? This, my friend, is not democracy. In a true democracy, we the people decide who gets elected and we hold them accountable. But in an oligarchy, billionaires decide who gets to sit at the table. They influence the laws, policies, and priorities of the government to protect their own wealth and power, often at the expense of the rest of us. Bernie Sanders has said it the best. This isn't democracy, it's oligarchy. And if you don't confront this system head on, it's only going to get worse. The wealth gap will continue to grow, corporate greed will go unchecked, and our voices will be drowned out by money and corruptions. Wow, those are deep words from a very patriotic man. What do you think about this topic, guys? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think we can overturn oligarchy in the United States? Let me know in the comment section, like the video, and also don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. As always, guys, see you on the next episode. Peace.